Welcome to CNN Student News. I'm Carl Azus. Last night was President Obama's final State of the Union address. He has reached his two-term presidential limit. So that's where we're starting today on CNN Student News. There was some breaking news in the hours before the speech. The Middle Eastern nation of Iran captured 10 American sailors on 2 boats in the Persian Gulf. They were small craft like these. There were conflicting reports by different Iranian news agencies about whether the sailors were arrested or rescued by Iranian forces. But the U.S. sailors themselves and the Obama administration said they expected the Americans to be released this morning. While that was going on, President Obama headed toward the podium in the U.S. House of Representatives at 9 o'clock last night. His aim was to portray America as a nation on the rebound as he started his last year in office.
We live in a time of extraordinary change. Change that's reshaping the way we live, the way we work, our planet, our place in the world. It's change that promises amazing medical breakthroughs, but also economic disruptions that strain working families. It promises education for girls in the most remote villages, but also connects terrorists plotting an ocean away. It's change that can broaden opportunity or widen inequality. And whether we like it or not, the pace of this change will only accelerate. The United States of America, right now, has the strongest, most durable economy in the world. We're in the middle of the longest streak of private sector job creation in history. More than 14 million new jobs, the strongest 2 years of job growth since the 1990s, an unemployment rate cut in half.
It's U.S. tradition for the opposing political party to respond to the president's State of the Union speech. It's been happening since the 1960s. The president is a Democrat, the opposing party is Republican. So Republican Governor Nikki Haley of South Carolina delivered last night's response. Her aim was to highlight her party's vision for an America significantly different from President Obama's.
Barack Obama's election as president 7 years ago broke historic barriers and inspired millions of Americans. As he did when he first ran for office, tonight President Obama spoke eloquently about grand things. He's at his best when he does that. Unfortunately, the president's record has often fallen far short of his soaring words. As he enters his final year in office, many Americans are still feeling the squeeze of an economy too weak to raise income levels. We're feeling a crushing national debt, a health care plan that has made insurance less affordable and doctors less available, and chaotic unrest in many of our cities. Even worse, we are facing the most dangerous terrorist threat our nation has seen since September 11th. And this president appears unwilling or unable to deal with it.
All right, let's check in now with 3 of the schools watching CNN Student News. These requests all came from yesterday's transcript page at cnnstudentnews.com. 1, Juanita Palisades High School. It's in Juanita, Nebraska, the home of the Broncos. 2, Beloit Memorial High School. The Knights are here today. Beloit, Wisconsin is on the roll. And 3, from Munich, Germany, welcome to our viewers at Forms München. Next story, space junk. Hundreds of thousands of pieces of debris orbiting the Earth. 7 years ago, when an old Russian satellite smashed into a working American one, 2,000 additional pieces of space junk spread into orbit. A lot of you have emailed us your concerns about space junk, the danger it poses to astronauts, spacecraft, and people on Earth. NASA says it has plans in place for how to avoid it, including how space crews or craft can change course if necessary. But the challenge, like the space junk itself, is increasing all the time.
The people on this planet generate over 1 billion metric tons of waste each year. But did you know that we've created loads of junk in space? The Earth is surrounded by a growing cloud of orbiting garbage that, according to NASA, contains at least 20,000 objects larger than a softball. 500,000 bigger than a marble, and millions of pieces of debris that are simply too small to track. The trash comes from explosions, spacecraft collisions, and expendable rocket stages. And as our space environment is getting more congested and complicated, it's also getting cluttered with all kinds of garbage. The problem is that these pieces of trash are traveling at speeds up to 18,000 miles per hour, which is almost 10 times faster than a bullet. Even a paint fleck at that speed becomes a missile. The International Space Station even had to replace windows when debris paint flecks caused damage to them. It's not uncommon that ISS has to adjust its orbit to dodge some space junk. Because this trash poses a threat to our properties in space, the Department of Defense catalogs and tracks those items that are bigger than a softball. They're currently building what they call a space fence, which is a radar-based space surveillance system that will allow the Air Force to better track space debris and artificial satellites.
The long snapper may not get a lot of credit on the football team, but the position's gotten so important that it's actively being recruited by college scouts. The long snapper specializes in hiking the ball 10 yards back to a punter or several yards back and to the side for a placeholder. The long snapper still has to block and run. This is a highly skilled position, and that makes the subject of today's character study that much more amazing.
Jake Olson doesn't look at football like his teammates. In fact, he can't see the game at all.
Yep, that was nice.
The long snapper for the University of Southern California is blind.
When I was 8 months old, I was diagnosed with a rare form of eye cancer called retinoblastoma. When the doctors found my cancer, it was completely taken over my left eye. The greatest fear is the cancer spreading through the optic nerve to the brain.
To save his life, doctors removed that eye. Jake endured chemotherapy and laser treatment to save the right one, but the cancer kept coming back.
You know, after about 8 times of that happening, the doctors finally said, listen, we've pretty much exhausted all treatment options.
Jake was 12 when he found out he would lose his other eye. But former USC head coach Pete Carroll heard Jake's story. He knew the boy was a huge lifelong fan and invited him to meet the team.
That team was there for me in my darkest hours. It's something that I will always be grateful for.
Despite losing his eyesight, Jake played football in high school.
A lot of it's just feel.
Last year, he brought that talent to USC as a walk-on player for his beloved team.
I went into playing football with the mentality that I had nothing to lose. Life's unfair has taught me to keep fighting.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, reporting.
And before we go, my favorite feature headline of the year so far, dogs and pants. You might not have known there's a big debate going on about this, and if you're the quick-thinking sort who's saying, wait, do they mean pants like we people wear or pants that may just cover a dog's legs and underbelly, well, you're barking up the right tree.
A 19-year-old student in Belgium claims his girlfriend's dog, Rocky, got him thinking. If a dog wore pants, would he wear them like this on 4 legs or like this on his 2 hind legs? The internet went nuts joking about and debating the question. Would pants on just the hind legs be shorts? Or are both wrong? And then Muddy Mutts unmuddied the water. So you think you've settled the argument once and for all?
It is settled. 4 legs.
Because pants for dogs already exist. Waterproof nylon waders sold by a husband and wife company in Canada for $50 US.
It looks really funny, but when you get tired of cleaning a dog for 20 minutes after a walk, it's really practical.
It was a niche product until the diagram went viral, and Tim Skelly says sales jumped 2,800%.
I'd love to show you one, but I even sold the one that was on our model dog.
Now there's a waiting list as Tim races to make more Muddy Mutts. Jeannie Mo, CNN, New York.
It gives a whole new meaning to panting dog. But if you're a pet owner who sees nothing wasted, you put your boxer in boxers, your chow in chowsers, your corgi in corgiroys, or your lab in labradors, well, we know who wears the pants in the family. I'm Carl Azus, and that zips up another edition of CNN Student News.